I'm Paulette Lifton. I'm here with my partner, Mimi Maynard. We are Voice Masters, the co-founders of this wonderful company that we try to really support and educate actors in voiceover. And we've been doing this, be going on 5 years in December. And we've been doing this weekly series since the beginning of COVID.
Thanks to Paulette.
Not thanks to me, but that's very sweet. And anyway, so we really provided this in the beginning because a lot of people were going through a lot of difficult times with being sequestered and not being able to connect to other people, and that's how it started. And now we can't seem to stop it. I don't know. It's, I had dinner with a bunch of Voice Masters people last night, including Ro, who's just joined us, and she said, "Hi, honey, I'm going to have dinner with her tonight." And
Paulette.
she said the most beautiful thing to me last night, which was she said this Friday for her is like church. And I was like, that is the most beautiful compliment. And I was very moved by that. And so anyway, so we've been doing this a long time. We have a couple classes coming up. We're probably going to be doing, usually what we do is right around Black Friday, we put up about 10 to 15 classes for the year. And if you're not signed up on our emails, you can sign up at info@voice-masters.com. I think right now we only have a 101 class, which is an incredible class. It's animation, singing for animation, commercial, and narration, audiobooks, all in one class. It's 4 weeks, 4 different teachers or 5 different teachers. It's a really incredible class, and an advanced class with Mark Sweeney, and we have a level 3 animation coming up as well. So that's the classes we have right now. And
So you did all that. I don't have to do that at the end.
now
Okay.
you don't have to do anything, Mammy. Now you can just
Okay, great. Let's
jump.
go. This woman has a resume the size of a Bible.
Well, Mimi and Joan both are incredible dubbing voice directors and casting directors.
And actresses, thank you.
Actresses, they're both actresses, both super talented. Joan happens to be technical, Mimi does not, just so you know the difference between the two. And I'm thank you, Joan, for being here today. And I'm gonna give Mimi the floor, and that's my little speech. Bye bye.
Fantastic. Thank you for doing that. So impromptu of you. I have to keep letting people in. Okay.
I'm
So,
doing it. I'm doing
okay,
it.
great. All right. Hi, everybody. You know who I am. If you don't, then at your loss. No, my name is Mimi Maynard. You already know I'm Paulette's partner. We have someone glorious here today. She has done everything in this business that you can imagine. I'm just going to tell you the titles she's had. She has been a dubbing producer, supervisor, and consultant, English original language into other languages. She has a list that I can't even go into. It's miles long. She's also been director of worldwide localization and distribution. She is an actress, of course. She is a dubbing consultant still. She is a dubbing, that we'll talk about later. And she, of course, is a dubbing director. So with that, we're going to start this amazing meeting. Joan, oh my God. Oh my God, did you start this at 3 or what? How old are you, 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
old?
Yeah, I started at 3. Actually, I was dubbing when I was 3 years old.
Were
No,
you really?
no, I wasn't at
Oh,
all.
kidding. Okay,
I
I got
started
you.
acting at about 5, though.
Yeah. I figured it was early on.
Writing plays and acting, from about 5 on. And then never really stopped.
Let me ask you something first of all.
Yep.
How many languages do you speak? I'm very jealous.
I speak French, Italian, and Spanish, a little bit of Russian, and I can sing the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song in a couple of I used to be able to, couple of languages. So, and you pick up a little bit, like in this work, you do pick up phrases, and it's something that
Mm-hmm.
comes pretty easily to me more than other things. And also because I'm a mimic and I like to listen. And it's a survival technique to learn how to speak a language because you get dumped into these territories sometimes for work. and everyone around you is speaking that language, and you're lost if you don't.
Oh, trust
I
me, I'm
worked
lost
hard
in
to
English.
pick up the languages too. I worked very hard. And
Yeah.
here it's kind of an abnormality, but in other countries, I've worked with people who can rattle off, all kind, they can speak six, seven languages, and it's not that uncommon.
Wow. Well, that being said, let's get into let's get into the dubbing English versions
Yeah.
first, because there's so much here, and I want everybody to know what you're doing currently. I have had the honor of working with you as an actress and you as a director, and it was splendid. I just loved the experience. I know that one of your Amazon series, Bang Bang Baby, got nominated for the Hermes Award for Best Acting of a Series. That, wow.
Yeah.
So tell me a little, I mean, I don't know if a lot of people would know these, but she's done The Life Ahead, Hand of God, wonderful. Open Your Eyes, Lies and Deceits, Ganglands, in both seasons, The Journalist, Garcia, Everybody Loves Diamonds, of course. Lions of Sicily, Sicily, Obscurity, Beautiful Rebel, Untitled Disney, yeah, you can't say, and another untitled Amazon feature, because we're not allowed, we have NDAs. So
Yeah.
that being said, what has been your most favorite thing you've worked on? Let's start with that.
In English dubbing, like dubbing from another language into English.
English to English, or
Okay, well,
English, yeah.
it's hard to pick just one because each project comes with its own really unique characteristics, and each one has its own challenges, and working with each actor is great. But I loved working on Bang Bang Baby. It was such a unique show and so inventive and so clever. And one of the great things about that, and our cast was phenomenal. It's an Amazon series about this girl who finds out she thought her father was dead, and then she finds out that he actually is alive and well and part of a big mafia family. And it's focused, everything's from the girl's point of view, and it was just such a great series. And the nice thing was the director would sometimes come online with us. He was in Italy, and he would join us, and he would just sit and listen. He wouldn't direct, he wouldn't say anything. He just would listen. And it was really nice because we were able to ask him questions like, "Hey, what did you mean exactly in this scene?" So that was a joy. But I just loved the show, and the actors were all phenomenal. And the characters, because I think it was 8 episodes, they got to be really developed. So you really got to jump into these characters and go deep, which is not often the case. And Courtney Lynn was our lead, and she's just,
Oh my God, I'm using her right now in 2 shows.
and
She's unbelievable. Yeah, yeah.
Christopher
Let me,
Jones played the voice
who
of
did?
Christopher Jones. He was the
Ah,
voice of Adriano Giannini, and he was fantastic. Everybody was. There's so many people. I think there's some people even here.
who else did you use? Just out of curiosity. There might be other people here that have come to listen to you, because God knows you have a plethora of people here.
Melissa Greenspan was in it.
Wow.
Oh boy, this is
Yeah, I got you. You don't have, yeah, that's like too much information. Maybe.
Estella Valenti, who might be on here today.
Great.
There was Bill Burns, another actor who
Mhm.
played in it. M- Pilar Uribe. And the characters were just so much fun because they were
And
so
rich.
odd and so colorful. You really got to play.
What language that was that from?
That was Italian. That
Oh,
was
of course, that's great. Very romantic, like the French.
Yeah, and I love working in Italian or French or Spanish too because I know what they're saying. So
Yeah.
I have to adapt something and change what we're saying because the sync isn't quite right. It's quite easy for me to, oh, I can find a different way to say that and still maintain what they're saying in the original.
So let me ask you, because I want all the actors to hear what you can suggest to them. Because you do so much in so many different areas. and being an actress yourself and casting yourself, what is it that you look for in auditions? And we'll get into the whole auditioning process later.
Well, it's so hard. I mean, I wish that we could send actors a clip of who they're going to be voicing, because in dubbing, you just get a piece of paper and it says, mother, 40 years old, she's
Yeah.
very tight, or something like that. That's all you get. You don't get to hear the voice. And I know what the voice sounds like of the original actor or actress. So I am trying to kind of match the original voice, and also listening to see if there's something in the quality of the voice, or that comes close to the intonation of what the person's doing. That's why I really like in-person auditions, because the actor gets the benefit of listening to who they're supposed to be dubbing, but
Mhm.
always don't get the chance. And the majority of shows, you will not get the chance to listen before you audition. So if I if they tell you who the actor is, sometimes I'll look up those, you can look up that person and hear what their voice sounds like.
Right.
You often don't get that either because of the NDAs. They don't tell you anything there, they tell you very little. But I think just to be yourself and be as natural as possible. Don't try to put on a, a beautiful voice, because they're human beings, so they sound all different ways. They don't sound like trained voice actors, so they're
Right.
and that's one of the things I love about international shows too, is that the characters, they have such ranges of voices. And um but I think go treat it like you were auditioning for anything else. If you were treating this as an on-camera audition, how would you say those lines? And really look deep into the clues that are given to you. If she's argumentative, if any descriptive words that they tell you about the character. And really don't think too, also on the other hand, don't think too much and don't overdo it, because I think just what they're going to be listening to is what qualities your own natural voice has
Hmm.
that match the original. And if they're not trying to match the original, then there might be something in your voice like, oh, she sounds a little different, but I think she can capture the toughness of this character, even though she's not quite a voice match. I mean, or he or she or they. I mean, anyone. You're Sometimes they're going very much for voice match, and sometimes it's can be another quality.
Or the essence of.
Yeah, the essence of,
The
if you're,
essence of,
yeah,
because when we're doing direct voice matches, that's a whole different story in terms of
yeah,
matching per se, line by line
yeah,
character.
yeah.
Um,
It
okay,
also, okay, so one more thing. It also does
sure.
depend on the studio that I'm working
Yes.
for, because some of them are much, much, much more, they prefer to have very close voice matches. Like a show that I did recently, they rejected a lot of people because even though they captured the essence of
Really?
the character had a really unique, like really kind of raspy voice like this. And it was really hard to get that without sounding phony. So we got guys that captured that quality, but they rejected everybody and they were really going for something almost identical. So
Wow.
sometimes it's not always who I choose, if the client sometimes they always will supersede what you think and go for what they want.
Yeah. And then our challenge is if it's not our choice and it's somebody that's not as experienced, but then sounds like that person, then we're having to deal with their experience if it's not, across the board in
Mhm.
voiceover. So, okay, let's go to the actual, we're in the studio, we're with you. We have no information. Okay. So you've chosen this person comes in cold. They're going, you first see a clip as
Mhm.
an actor when you're in there. Um, I want you to talk about, because it's not a voice per se, and um we're not doing voices. We don't do voices at our school either. We do characters. I want you to talk about the value of what training is, not only in, in acting, but in voiceover, because it's very specific to what it is you and I do as directors. So, can you elaborate on what actors should be doing in order to kind of encapture what it is we do and how they can use their training, or at least be training in this area, so that it's easier for them and it's easier for you, being that we never see the material in dubbing, per se dubbing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important to study so that to study voice work also. I mean, work on your voice, take care of your voice, and exercise and food, and also, but to work on your craft just like anything else, and take voice classes, and also take, continue doing your acting classes, like everything, because the more you do and the more comfortable you are, the better you'll feel when you get in the booth. Because to me, dubbing is the ultimate talking and listening challenge, because you don't have the other person opposite you. You have a screen, and you're reading the lines at the bottom of the screen. So I think you have to really trust that all the work you are doing is in place. And you then have to show up at the microphone relaxed and trust your instinct and listen. Because a lot of times, and actors are all, everyone wants, we're people pleasers, right? Actors, and you want to be good. We all want to be good, and we want to be good like fast. But to me, I think the key really is to listen and look at the eyes, look at the screen, and watch what the people are doing. I'm speaking specifically about dubbing. And really watch them and listen to them, because you can, even though it's not your language, you can hear the emotion. And it's really important to listen to that emotion, and also listen to the little nuances in the line. Because if you just read it, and if you come in and just start reading, you're not going to hear where that person maybe goes a little softer, and then they go a little louder, and then they go those little things, or like where their voice almost cracks, those kind of things. And I think coming in relaxed and prepared, showing up early so that you're not in a frenzy when you get there because you're late. Just like any audition, right? Show up early, be relaxed, do some relaxation exercises for yourself, loosen up your shoulders and your neck, those kind of things. Do your vocal exercises before, so your voice is warmed up. And also, be be ready to listen to both what you hear, and then what I tell you, what we tell
As a
you.
director, yes,
And
because
and also to try to interpret, because I do sometimes, I mean, I do try to be specific in what I'm looking for, but sometimes it's hard. And sometimes you're also like, oh my God, we have 2 hours and we got to finish this whole episode. And
right.
you don't have the luxury of going into the big explanation.
Mhm.
And also because sometimes when you come in, like, I like to show actors the whole scene. So you see how other people are reacting. So you hear how other people are talking. Some directors, you'll go in and you won't get that. They'll jump right to your line and want you to do it. And then right to your next line and want you to do it. And right to the next one. So you don't have the context. So that's where it's really important to listen, and just be able to trust that everything you're doing, all your work is there, and just relax and do it. And then, if you need to see it again, ask to see it again.
Mhm.
'Cause we're not
Can I ask,
machines, so.
let me ask you something, because I think this is very important for actors to hear. Different directors have different choices. And I think in order to have an actor throw themselves into that role, because you have to, as you said, you're looking at all the nuances, and then we're giving them direction and nuances we need. Do you prefer actors to stand up when they work so that they can be more physical in capturing what they're doing? I'm just curious to see how you feel about it.
I do prefer it unless the character is sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
If they're sitting down, then I don't, or if they have a health issue and they can't stand up. But the nice thing about when you're standing up is that it opens your diaphragm more, and you can use your body more. It doesn't sound so much like
You're
you're just like
reading.
this reading, standing at a mic, sitting at a microphone with a mic here. It's not an it's and if your character's moving, move as much as you can. And also, you'll have a mic now, often one on your chest. You have a radio mic, a lavalier, and then a mic here, and then sometimes another mic here. Sometimes you have a three mic setup. Um, and but I do like the standing up unless your character is not standing up.
Yeah. Okay, so that all being said, I know a lot of people want to get into dubbing.
Mhm.
I have my own feelings about it. Some of it is union, some of it's not union. It's the whole, what we go through. I don't know if you can give some advice to the actors that are not repped, because most of the people that are repped get the auditions for what they're right for. Now, I know for me, I've been able to, when I can, help people come into dubbing for something that I'm doing, and then they blossom and they get other jobs. Uh, how can you, um, what can you suggest to these actors that are all dying to dub beside training? How can they get in? Do you discover people on your own? Other than being recommended by agents? Uh, how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't have an agent, so um,
That's unbelievable to me, by the way. But
and
case closed.
so I hustle my ass off. And then I think, yeah, doing plays is a great thing. People do go see them. I go see them. Um, how else? Taking workshops. I mean, I've met so many people through workshops, both that I've heard that I've met, like you and Paulette. Definitely networking with other actors. I'm in a theater company, Theater Neo. I see a couple of people who are on here. And we're always looking for new people. Also, well, many of the shows, casting directors bring me, because most of the shows have casting directors now, and they'll bring new people that I have not heard of, and it's always nice to meet new people because there and also sometimes the client will suggest, they'll say, here's a list of people we want, pick from these people or have these people audition. Yes, there are some come from agencies, but connect with other actors and take
Mhm,
workshops with casting directors, all those things.
mhm. Have
And
you gone, have you, I'm sorry, I wanted to ask you this.
Mhm.
Have you, what other, beside workshops, what other websites, places? I know you hustle a lot on the acting side, directing and all of the other stuff. It's like we're all helping each other in every area.
I do. It's
And
a
I know
nice
you love to act, but what other places can these actors go to discover how to get into dubbing? I know it's from each other, guys. If
yeah.
someone's dubbing, then you can recommend, because we're pretty open to that. But you, Joan, where have you gone to besides
Well,
doing workshops?
I've done stuff on voices.com. I've been
Mhm.
cast through voices.com. I did a podcast, a great podcast, through voices.com. Bodalgo is another one. I mean, they're pay sites. So
I know. Can you, do you know, I want to put that in the chat. So what did you say the other one was?
Bodalgo, they're expensive. I mean, I don't want to recommend, I don't know. I think you are better off getting in a class than,
Yeah, you know, though, here's how, I love the fact you're bringing this
okay,
up because I think Boldago, how do you spell that? B-O-L?
Bodalgo, Bodalgo. There's Voices 123, there's voices.com, but it's also, and I know there's people that do stuff on Fiverr. I don't, but because I think when you're in the union too, that it's nice to get paid and protected by the
Right,
union.
right. Oh, I completely agree.
I want to promote those sites. That's an individual choice for everyone, but networking is and
It's
the
primary.
Society of Voice Artists, the convention, joining NAVA, the National Association of Voice Artists. They're a wonderful organization,
Yes,
and they're doing so much to protect actors with
yes.
AI. What else? Yeah,
Going to Tovis?
Society of Voice Artists, that 3-day convention is unbelievable. You get to go to seminars, you hear great speakers, you meet with other actors and directors, you meet people from all over the world. It's pretty interesting. Those are great. I think those things are wonderful to do. Um, if you
Yeah,
know people,
yeah.
also like if you know actors who are writers, offer to do some of their writing. I mean, read
Yes,
some of their writing.
yes, that's
Hey,
great. That's a
let's make an
great
audio
way to
play
get
of
in.
what you've written, or let's record
Hmm.
these and put these out there. Those kind of things, and create your own create your own.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, like that kind of thing is everyone's path is different. If you have an agent, tell them you want to do dubbing. Uh,
But
and
agents are easier uh, to get auditions through because a lot of them come through auditions.
they come through agencies, and sometimes
I
the
mean,
clients,
agencies, I meant.
yeah, the clients want people who've come from those agencies.
Hmm.
Sometimes, not always.
Sometimes there's so many people that I know that I use that are not agent represented. They just, once you're in and start going, they go and then they get an agent.
Yeah.
But I love all these places you recommended
Well,
because
I'm not really recommending them. I'm saying that they're there. I'm not.
they're there. Okay, she can't recommend them, but
I,
I'm telling you, these are places for you to go network at. You
yeah.
know,
I,
Sobis, Nava,
well,
all
the
the,
Silvas and Nava I'm recommending for sure, but the
yeah,
pay to play sites, that's a personal choice. And if you
yeah,
want
of
to do it,
course. I mean, it depends, I say when you're an actor, you got to invest in yourself. And
yeah.
that's how I feel.
Yeah. And
So
taking workshops, so like, you see, you do workshops and you'll be like, oh my God, that kid's great. He would do
always,
for this.
always. I also take recommendations from
Yeah.
other directors, from other actors that are already dubbing. This person would be great for this role. So, guys, it's all about networking besides number one, studying.
Yeah.
Dubbing's a whole craft unto itself, right? Right, Joan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And for dubbing, this is all since we're talking about dubbing,
Of course.
something you can do before you ever start doing any dubbing is practice reading out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And because when you get in the booth, it goes much faster than you think it's going to go. And especially if you have a scene where someone's like, blah, 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 you have to follow along and blah, 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 with them. So, and also, I like to read subtitles out loud. And
Mm-hmm.
no, they're not, it's not the same as dubbing and they pop on and they pop off. It does give you practice reading quickly off the screen
Mm-hmm.
and
It does.
trying to do it in the same tone of voice as what you're hearing, like
Mm-hmm.
try to copy it, or even if you watch English shows, you can watch
Mm-hmm.
captioning and try to read those out loud as
Really study the characters too. Yeah, study the characters with the dialogue. It really is a whole other thing, guys. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun, but it's very different than just being on camera, face to face, because you're basically acting with yourself and with the director. Correct, Joan?
Yeah, and you are acting with that person on the screen.
Of course.
But you also have to read at the same time as you're doing.
Yeah,
It's kind of like going like this, like rubbing,
I know.
you really
It's
have to.
it really is. God knows.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question on the localization and distribution.
Mhm.
Did you have anything to do with casting there or giving your opinion on the cast? Because that's a whole other area that we're not privy to as actors.
Well, I was not involved in casting on when I was the director of localization and distribution
Mm-hmm.
at Paramount Pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and we were casting American movies being dubbed into other languages.
Right,
I was doing the casting for, or not for the whole entire show, but for the principal characters
right.
of certain titles for Paramount,
Wow.
maybe all the big titles for Paramount. And um, sometimes directors would get involved with that
Mhm,
too and want to
mhm.
hear the actors, and sometimes you just are going by voice sample only and voice sample and resume. But that's what I was doing it from English into other languages.
Unbelievable. And that's a whole other thing. So, guys, if you speak other languages, this is so great for you because there are so many dubs that are looking to go from English into another language, which is what Joan does. And that's again a great way to get in. Joan, do you ever take people's reels? I mean, you ever listen to people's reels? Is there a way to contact you to do that, or do you just go through agents for that?
Oh no, I listen to people's reels all the time.
Is there an email or a website or something that people can contact you on?
Yeah, I'm building my website right now.
Yeah. Is there an email I can suggest?
You can also just do Instagram.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
reach me
thank
That'd be
you.
the easiest.
and then um, what else? Yeah, I mean, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. My email is jjmarco@me.com. Um,
Okay. Well, whatever's won't bombard you, JJ Marco at me.
and
Okay.
how do you feel, Mimi, about name slates at the beginning of a voice
Oh,
audition?
that's interesting. I prefer name slates. Because I need to hear them. I
Mhm.
just go Mimi. I have a very specific thing that I do with different, when I'm doing a voiceover commercial or a animation job. I always go Mimi Maynard, and then I slate it as the character, and I go right into the reading. With dubbing, I just do Mimi Maynard, and I go right into it because we don't know what the hell we're doing. I mean, we're just going with our voice.
Yeah.
But I personally prefer hearing the name and then saying the character in character to
Cool.
start.
Yeah.
That's just my personal thing.
Yeah.
As what I do as an actress and have for years. And I love hearing that when I get voice demos from people.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. I like
Great.
to not hear the name until the end because I like to be as
Okay.
neutral as possible. I want to hear the voice
Great.
and not be biased by if I know the person or I don't know the person. I just want to hear the voice and then hear the name. And sometimes people really make long slates because they'll be like, "Hey, my name is Joe Blow and I'm with blah blah blah
No, no,
agent."
no. I don't do that. I don't need to
But they
hear the
really do.
agent.
It's
Oh,
so
please, no,
long. It's
thank
like, oh
you.
my God, and I have to listen to 500.
No, 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 no. It's just very quick. Mimi Maynard, Kyla. And I go right into it. in animation. In
Right.
dubbing, no, I don't do that, but I do Mimi Maynard just in case someone loses my, original MP3 and they hear it and they see it's me. But again, it's preference, guys. You will probably be told on the initial email slate at the end, or we don't want to hear slates. When I don't get any of those, I just do what I do. And if it's for dubbing, it's just my name. I go right into the character immediately. So everybody has their preference, and it's glad you're stating all this, because then people get different points of view, which is what we want to hear. So we've already done, I want to take some questions because there's so much here that I could ask, but I know actors want to have questions for you. So this is where do you put up your hand, guys, or is it on the Paulette, are you still on? Who has questions? I know there are questions here. Stacy, I got it.
Hi, Mimi. How are you?
How are you, darling?
I'm well.
Great.
One, thank you for doing this.
Uh-oh. We lost.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Unmute. Oh dear. Ask to unmute. Unmute, Stacy.
There we go.
There you are.
Okay.
Alrighty. Hi, thank you so much, both of you, for being here. I had a question both for you, Mimi and Joan.
Okay.
So if we are sending you a demo, do you prefer a for live action? So I have a couple of leads, which is great. So do you prefer the clips, or do you just want the audio? Does that make sense?
The clips or the audio?
Like, so the video, like the video, actual footage from the show where I've dubbed, or do you just prefer a regular VO?
Oh, for your demo.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the footage, that's fabulous. If you
Okay,
don't,
great.
okay. Joan, how do you feel?
Either way is fine. Either way.
Okay.
Cool.
But I wouldn't worry about it if you don't have the clips, just to send your audio.
Okay.
Yeah, either one. Honestly, it's great.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, and then who else? I saw Stacy's hand up. Who else has their hand up? Teresa.
If you're doing animation voiceover, is it helpful to know dubbing?
That's for you, darling, Joan.
Oh, okay. If it's, you mean animation where you're creating the material and you're not dubbing somebody else? I mean, knowing dubbing doesn't hurt it's good for everything, and but if you're just being an actor auditioning for something for animation, you don't have to know how to do dubbing.
Unless you're dubbing.
Unless you're dubbing. If you're dubbing an animated series, then it's helpful to have practice.
Are all animated series you do dubbing in all animated series, or are there animated series where they don't do dubbing?
Animation gets a lot of dubbing all over the world. In fact, there's people here from Mexico that we've on Marcel Carre and Gabriela Carre, who have a wonderful studio in Mexico. And we worked on Kung Fu Panda together in Spanish, and Madagascar 1 and 2. We did a bunch of other DreamWorks animation. I can't remember what else. Monsters versus Aliens. So those were English shows that were dubbed
into Spanish.
And
fantastic.
But there's a lot of dubbing in animation, especially because usually those things don't get released with subtitles because children don't read, depending on the age group that it's geared to. So subtitles are not there usually because of the kids.
Yeah, that's great to know.
They don't read as quickly as adults, so animation is dubbed. Yeah.
Yeah, create original animation's a whole other conversation. We're sticking to dubbing today, so but yes, that's true. Okay, I want to get all these questions in now. Rob, you're next, sweetheart. Are you?
Hello?
Yes, there you are.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to know, how do you like name the file of the audition or the demo?
They usually tell you in your audition. Once you get the audition, they're now very specific about name, character, um,
MP3.
yeah, MP3. They are very specific and follow the
Okay,
direct.
but and then how would you like, because when it tells me to export the MP to an MP3, it gives me all these numbers and things that I can, like KPH and whatnot, or KPS.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't.
It's
I don't.
just different numbers and different frequencies. And
Oh, Lord. I don't know those
I
either.
never get that on my MP3s. I don't know
Oh.
what that is.
That's
oh,
MP3s
okay.
usually.
Wow.
It's usually pretty simple. They're not going to get too complicated.
Export to MP3.
Yeah. That
Oh.
when in doubt,
Oh,
MP.
I know what you're talking about in the name when it shows up in the name.
Well, no, like when I use Audacity,
Right. Okay. I use
and
that.
then when I export to MP3, it's always like get my bit rate and my uh actually I don't even know.
You set all that up in Audacity. Oh, that's another thing too. People getting familiar with all of those the platforms like Audacity, Adobe Audition, Pro Tools, whatever it is. I mean, practice and start recording yourself and recording, because your auditions are your calling card, and they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be done in a studio, but they should sound, clear, and we should hear because you're showcasing your voice. And you can do them at home, you can do them in a closet, you can do them.
Yeah, the Peanut Gallery is saying it's the sample rate, K, K KHZ and bit rate.
Right on your MP3 label?
Right? No, like when it says export to.
Oh, we'll check. Okay, so you should read up about what bit rate you want. There, you could also go with the default, just whatever program you're using. Use
Okay,
the
just
default bit rate, unless they tell you. And some auditions will tell you what they want. And if they do, then you change it in your settings. But when you export, you should just export a file and then name it with your name and the character and whatever else they want on it, and then dot MP3.
okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh my God. My head just spun right off from that technical information. Oh my God. Lindsay too. Okay, Sarah.
Hi. I had a question for, I guess, both of you. Do you guys ever cast for voice matching? Is that
Yes.
so like not necessarily a foreign language thing, but just okay. Yeah.
Joan, do you?
I do it, well, for dubbing, yes, because I've worked on a lot of musicals where we've had to keep the original person singing, so we have to match the way that voice, and sometimes they'll go from kind of talking into singing, talking into singing. So you really have to match the voice. You mean like, say, if some famous actor doesn't want to do their ADR, their
Right.
voice. Now, I have done it in the past. I haven't done it recently, though. No, not for a while, but I have done it, and people do it all the time.
Yeah,
So that usually will go through an agent,
Okay.
usually, yeah.
because they'll send out
Audition. And the video and the
they'll
whole thing.
or they'll call an agency to say, hey, we need a voice match for whoever the actor is, and then people will submit to that.
And do it.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing too, Sarah.
Okay.
That's something that is, I suggest that if you don't know what that entails, to take a class, because I've done a lot of voice matching myself, and I know it's a whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, I've taken a couple classes. It's just the part where like how to get into it was more hazy to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually through an agent, but
Usually,
if you were right for something, or if Joan thought you were right for something, we heard you. That's where you send your stuff in, and we listen pretty much to a lot of people.
You know, a
Right,
lot
John?
of people also on their websites have, if you say you have a perfect voice match to,
Yeah.
I don't know, like Demi Moore or somebody, or just pick any actor. If you have that person dead on, I would put those in there as a sample, just a simple short sample. If you know, it's like, so then people know, oh, this girl she can do so many different, she's a sound alike for so many different people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have a handful of samples on my website already.
Okay,
Great. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
yeah.
Good to
And
know, Sarah. Great.
Thank you.
Did I interrupt you, Joan? You have something else you want to say? Okay. All right. You know me. I'm not, shut up, Emmy. Okay. Alexander.
Hi, Joan and Mimi, how are you? My question is, like, what steps would you recommend to break into voiceover, especially if you're experienced in other acting? Right now, I'm currently taking voice classes with Mimi for the animation. But like, what would be my next steps to correctly get into this so that I could break into it quicker?
That's that's the $1 million question.
24,000 question.
It's 2 million now from inflation.
2
Yes.
million.
Yeah, the $2 million question. If you have an agent, get them to start submitting you to, do you have a voice agent? Try to submit. Honestly, I don't know. That's, you know, taking classes, work on your craft, network, keeping your voice in shape, creating your own material, creating your own content is always a great way that people find you as well.
Yep.
Um, you know, and it's like any other part of acting, you just have to keep doing it and keep hustling. And I don't honestly look if I would, because
It's a wild question. So if I were to narrow it down, which is the most needed voiceover?
Hmm. You mean in terms of, it's all varied, sweetheart.
Yeah,
There's animation, there's anime, that's a whole other deal. And then there's regular dubbing.
yeah.
For you, I would suggest, because you're doing it now, we put a whole bunch of places
yeah,
that
got all of them. Cool.
so listen, I can help you with that.
Great.
It is about networking though. It's who you know. And I've gotten a lot of recommendations to me from other actors that dub and say, I work with this person. This person's great. He gets on the radar. I tell Joan, know this person. It's all about networking. And the places I put on there, that Joan put on there, is really relevant. Okay. You just keep hustling.
That's
And
it.
it's all about hustling. It really is, especially in the area of dubbing. Okay.
And
Thank you.
dubbing has exploded. I mean, before
Yes.
very, very little dubbing work. And with the streamers, with Amazon and Netflix and Disney Plus and who, you know,
Oh, it's all up. Now everybody wants to dub. Yeah.
content before from all over the world,
Mhm.
there's been an explosion in dubbing.
Right.
Jobs that never existed before. And so there is a lot of dubbing work now. But I mean, this year is a little bit of I hope it's an anomaly because there's less work this year because of
Well,
many
with the strikes and everything, it took a while to get back on course, but it's picking up now for sure.
yeah, COVID too, where there
And
was
COVID. Oh, please, with COVID. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. I only have time for 2 more questions. So it's going to be Chris and then Carla. Chris, go ahead, sweetness.
Mimi, nice to see you. And
Nice to meet you.
hi, Joan. Thank you for your time here and all the info and for trusting us with your email. Thank you so much for that. I know that you do go through agents. I was wondering if you're able to share if there's only like a few select agencies, main ones that you go for, or is if it's widespread, basically.
Interesting.
I don't, usually those come to me through a casting director.
Mhm.
And they put out the breakdown. The casting director will put out the breakdown, and then they get all the submissions, and then they go through them, and then they come to us. So they get them from all agencies, mainly ones that are focused on voice, if you like voice agents, because a lot of times people don't want to deal that much in dubbing because there's not a great amount of money in it. It's not like, because when you're doing dubbing work, you get, if it's SAG dubbing work, you get your minimum, it's a 2 hour minimum, and that's what you get. You don't get paid for the whole day like you would if you were
It's also different. Dubbing rates are much different.
dubbing,
So,
right. So there's not a ton of money in there for an agent, really.
no,
But yes, there are, I mean, the top agencies all submit to the roles. And the one thing that's beautiful about dubbing, and this is something I love about it, is that I work with amazing actors every day.
mhm.
And they're not famous. Some of them are. Some of them are very famous in the voiceover world. Some of them are famous on television and on film. And but most of them are not famous, and they're great. They're great, and it's just like, oh, I love my actors so much. And when we finish a show, I'm always so happy and so proud of the work that everybody did because they were so good. And this is how I always feel about going to acting class too. Is like I'm always sitting there in class, and I love being in class because I get to see amazing work. I see actors who are brilliant. I get to do stuff I never ever would ever get cast in, probably because they would say, oh, she's too old, or she's too young, or she's too ethnic, or she's not ethnic enough, or whatever the things that they say about you, but in class, you get all of that. You get to do all of that. And it's part of you working on your craft. And agents go to those, if you're in a play, sometimes they do, uh, but I don't know. I mean, I know Atlas, they have a lot of submissions that are sent to the casting directors, but on a lot of the big titles, it's a casting director most of the time who bring
I know for me, just really briefly, because we also cast, I do a lot of casting as well. I do go to different agents when I'm thinking about the people that I'm looking for that I know these agents have in terms of what I'm looking for. A lot of these agents are now really sophisticated in what cultures they're representing, a whole bunch of things. So for me as a casting person, I do that. And when I have a casting director, I take those submissions, and I also have my own ideas as to who I would like to have come in. And also Joan does the exact same thing, I know, because we talk to each other. But yeah, it depends if you're using a casting director, they do the core, but we as talent, as directors, if a role comes up and I go, Chris would be great for that, that's where I go.
Oh,
And you do too. Always.
yeah.
We do it with each other so that you know that. It's a very intimate, close community, Chris. It really is. It's very different than the acting film world, even the looping world. They have their own thing. I get it. I was in it. But dubbing too, we have directors that are more than happy to listen to new talent.
I'll listen to new, yeah, definitely.
Always you do, Joan. You're so
Always. Because we're always also, there's a lot, there's people who work all the time, and they're great and they're easy to work with and they're amazing. You kind of want to keep working with them just because it makes your life very easy. You get to go fast, but you also want to try not to have the same voices in all the
Absolutely.
shows all the time. It's
They
like, oh,
don't want it. The studios don't want
the
it. They
studios
want
don't
your
want it.
talent.
They're like, oh, that guy's been the lead in the last 5 shows we did. We
Don't
need
want
to
it.
get another voice. So then that's, you're always looking for those new and
Good
different.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, and then SAG, if you're in SAG, you have access to so much stuff. I mean, there's the voice booths there that you can use. You can use the vocal booth and you can go work on your, it doesn't have to be like an animation demo or a commercial demo. If you're doing just a dubbing sample, it's more just you talking. Or if you have a dubbing audition and you live under the airport and you can't do it at home, you can go to SAG and go record your audition there. And then they also have now the new Meryl Streep self-tape thing, but they do dubbing workshops, which both Mimi and I have been part of
And
with
yes,
Netflix. We've done these Netflix and SAG workshops together where we've met lots of actors, and I've cast people from those too,
yes,
because they're great actors, but they just haven't had the opportunity. And there's audio description, there's other things for voice work too. Um, I mean, but we're focused more on dubbing, but
yes. Netflix does have the one we did together was
great.
all the actors.
Yep.
So you gotta just, I don't know how they got there. Because it was my first time doing it.
I don't
Um,
know. Yeah,
I don't know how they do it, but you can get,
yeah, the SAG, what was it? But I've done about 5 of them
yeah,
already.
you have. I was lucky because they used film,
We're,
but I just went, oh my, God, pardon me. Oh,
Mhm.
it was a whole,
SAG Foundation or something. I'm not sure what.
I don't know. You check Netflix and go to workshops and see what you find there. Okay, I
SAG.
gotta move on because
Oh,
we're
thank you
almost,
very much.
you're so welcome, sweet. Carla,
I'll be quick. Hi, Mimi. Thank you. Joan, thank you. Grazie mille, should I say. Um, so for newbies, I'm a New York newbie, just moved here. We didn't really do dubbing there. I've taken some great classes with Mimi. Um, if we don't have a dubbing reel yet, would you listen to commercial demos, or is that not enough for you to find out what we sound
of
like?
course, anything that
Okay.
has a real voice. Joan, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what most actors have is your commercial. That's what most of us have is our commercial and animation demo, and more than a dubbing demo.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you.
now
Do
everybody,
you
yeah,
do you guys teach together sometimes, or
we
like
haven't,
in a workshop?
we
Yeah,
haven't, but it's certainly something that Paulette and I would do in a heartbeat with Joan.
it
We
would be fun.
love her.
I like doing them in person more than I think it's really hard to do
Yes,
a dubbing
yes,
workshop on
Right.
Zoom.
well, COVID did that for us, but we do in studio now.
In studio
yeah.
dubbing workshop is great. That's how we've done the Netflix ones, and they've been really, really good because it gives you a chance to actually do it instead of doing it on your computer at home.
Joan, what can I say? You're the best. You are a wealth of information and a wonderful person to work with, both as a director and as an actress.